You're welcome back to the gavel. The House of Representatives is refuting the report of the anti-corruption agency, the ICPC, which claims that in the past 10 years, 1 trillion naira has so far been appropriated for National Assembly constituency projects with little or nothing to show for it. And the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mr. Femi Gbajabiamila, describes the report as false and misleading and says the ICPC should have taken advantage of the Freedom of Information Act to access the right information instead. So let's see how this matter played out in the lower chamber.
In the actual sense,
the minority leader of the House of Representatives, Ndudi Elumelu, draws the attention of the House to the headlines of the national newspapers on the report of Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, which prompted President Buhari to say that there is little to show for over 1 trillion naira budgeted for constituency projects of the National Assembly members in the last 10 years.
Of course, I got 100 million by way of budgeted. But the releases, actual releases, Mr. Speaker, was not up to 50%. I'm trying to be conservative. In the actual sense, we never got up to 40% release. Even in this year, under review, I can authoritatively tell you that 30% has only been released to members. National Assembly has nothing to do with the execution or the award of such contracts.
But I think it's...
the Speaker agrees with the stance of the minority leader.
The facts are easy to access. We have the FOI bill, Freedom of Information Bill, where ICPC could easily go to. They have all the powers and the tools of investigation and look at releases as opposed to what has been budgeted for. Now, even the ICPC that made the report, I don't think they would appreciate if the House, in exercise of its constitutional responsibility, did an oversight on ICPC based on the money that was budgeted as opposed to what was released to them. I don't think they'll appreciate that.
You have all seen the
Senate minority leader, Ain Naya Baribe, also disagrees with President Buhari over the matter of constituency projects.
I have done constituency projects, and we have always said that constituency projects are not done by the senators or the members of House of Rep. The constituency projects are domiciled in the executive who execute it. And so if the president said that he hasn't seen anything for it, he should ask his ministers and his agencies under him as the executive, because they are the people who have been executing these projects.
Senator Abaribe also presents the position of the PDP Senate caucus on the recent Kogi and Bayelsa governorship elections.
All that we have seen in all the elections that are going on up to this moment is a steady decline in the efficacy of our elections. I do not know how INEC can accept the figures that came out of those elections.
Meanwhile, the Senate Committee on Public Accounts is asking the Presidential Amnesty Committee to be ready to produce and defend its audited account before the committee. Briefing journalists in Abuja, the chairman of the Senate Committee on Public Accounts is issuing similar notice to various ministries, departments and agencies, including the Central Bank of Nigeria, the Federal Inland Revenue Service, and the Niger Delta Development Commission, among others. They are to present to the committee their audited accounts in the last 2 years. The committee chairman says the various government agencies mentioned, including the ones fighting corruption, have refused to come forward with their audited accounts despite several letters to that effect to them.
In view of the fact that some agencies have already defaulted in their submission deadline, notice is hereby issued to defaulting MDAs and other organizations of government to, without further delay, make submissions within 7 days, that is, the 20th to the 27th of November 2019, on their responses to the issues raised by the committee in its various correspondences regarding their income and expenditure operations from 2017 to 2019.
Let's take a look at more activities in the National Assembly during the week.
The House of Representatives has directed its Committee on Petroleum Downstream to investigate the expenditure of $396 million on turnaround maintenance of the nation's 3 refineries.
The House also observes
This follows a motion by Representative Ifeanyi Moma that the money was spent on Port Harcourt, Warri and Kaduna refineries in 4 years. He also alleges that the NNPC further spent 276 billion naira on operating expenses of the refineries between 2015 and 2018, as well as $36 billion on importation of petroleum products between 2013 and 2017.
observes the assertion by the NNRC in the report that the NNPC spent a whopping $396.33 million between 2013 and 2017 to carry out repair works under the turnaround maintenance TAM scheme on its 3 decrepit refineries at Port Harcourt, Warri and Kaduna. The House is informed that the 3 refineries contribute less than 10% annually to Nigerians' GDP, and they are also among the league of refineries with the highest operating cost worldwide, as their consolidated capacity utilization dropped to 6.1% at the end of September 2017.
The lawmakers are also asking the federal government to consider divesting a certain percentage of its shareholding in the Port Harcourt, Warri and Kaduna refineries to competent investors.
Ayes have it.
The House of Representatives is also urging the Central Bank of Nigeria to review the monetary policy rates and its implementation, taking into consideration the cost of doing business by banks. The lawmakers also want the National Economic Council to critically consider how to reduce the cost of doing business in the country. These formed part of the resolutions contained in the motion sponsored by Representative Fatoba Olushola.
The House do resolve 1. To urge the Central Bank of Nigeria to review monetary policy rates and its implementation, putting into consideration the cost of doing business by banks. 2. To also urge the National Economic Council to critically consider how to reduce the cost of doing business in Nigeria in a manner that the common man will feel the impact.
Meanwhile, as part of its oversight functions, the House of Representatives Committee on Youth Development has visited the camp of the National Youth Service Corps in Niger State. After inspecting some of the facilities in the camp, the committee paid a visit to the Niger State Deputy Governor. The chairman of the committee spoke on the importance of the NYSC and charged state governments to make corps members comfortable in their states.
Because our young adults, they are learning from us, and they are taking a cue from us. And then we are mentoring them. And since we are doing that one, I will think and we know and we are convinced that the future of Nigeria rests seriously on their shoulders. Then definitely, the way we develop them, what we let them know, and what we open them to matters a lot.
We are also mindful the importance of the role of government as a state are supposed to play to ensure that we give them good hospitality, particularly to the members, in terms of infrastructure.
The committee also made a stop at the NYSC camp in Benue State, where the chairman promised that the committee will ensure that youth empowerment schemes of the federal government will no longer be based on connections.
As from now, all the centers where the youth of Nigeria are supposed to benefit in terms of empowerment and employment, that we are going to poke nose and make sure that it is the youth that don't have people that can give letter to offices that will get employment.
Now, this is where we call it a day on this week's edition of The Gavel. If you have any views on any of the issues discussed, please email us on thegavel@channelstv.com. Thank you for staying with us and see you again next week.